wondering, I'm going to raise the issue of the pending debt crisis, the default, the potential default. What's the best estimate for when that may happen if we continue on business as usual?
I haven't given an exact date, but I would say it's late summer. And I share your concern, and I would urge Congress to raise the debt ceiling as soon as possible.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the Treasury report on the macroeconomic effects of the debt ceiling brinksmanship?
I don't think I need the report to know the impact, which would be quite significant.
So were you in finance at the time and during the 2011 the Tea Party
I was,
crisis?
and let me just say I had a meeting with the Big Four yesterday, and I raised the issue of the debt ceiling with them. And again, I would urge Congress to raise the debt ceiling. We should have a situation where when we commit funds, we commit that we have the capacity to borrow. So I have no issue with Congress should have the ability to control borrowing and have the control of spending, but these things should be done at the same time.
I concur on that. The whole situation is sort of analogous to refusing to pay for a meal after you've eaten it. But actually, without objection, I'd like to enter into the record the Treasury report entitled The Macroeconomic Effects of Debt Ceiling Brinksmanship, dated 2013. So.
Without objection, so ordered.
Yeah, and I urge you to have a look at it. It's just a few pages, but it really, it goes through the drop in consumer confidence, small business optimism, S&P 500 took a hit, the VIX spiked, corporate bond spreads, mortgage spreads, it just was bad. Household net worth, the wealth of American families, dropped by more than, I think, multiple $1 trillion. This was a big deal when it happened, and there's a danger of it recurring. Yesterday I introduced a bill that would, just a clean repeal of the debt limit so that we would actually use the budget rather than the debt limit to limit spending. And I'm not going to ask you, to opine on any specific thing. I understand there isn't really a consensus on the issue, and I personally remain committed to working in a bipartisan manner. There are proposals that were hammered out in the bipartisan policy group that would give cover to a number of Republican members who want to, at least maintain some sort of fig leaf. These are proposals that would defuse the issue, basically defang it, so that although it would technically still be there as a threat, it would just effectively not be so unlikely to be triggered. And so I was wondering if you would consider supporting proposals or maybe even taking leadership and trying to hammer out some sort of bipartisan permanent fix so that this thing doesn't come up again and again.
I'd be pleased to meet with a bipartisan group. We'd also be pleased to provide technical assistance. Again, in one format or another, the debt limit shouldn't be used as hostage to other things. It is. So I'm fine with keeping the debt limit as long as we have a mechanism that we kind of do these things simultaneously.
Yeah, so that, there's some mechanism where it would never be the limiting factor that would cause us to default.
Well, as you said, so we don't end up, you use the example of, you had the meal. I think it's more like we had the meal, we left the restaurant, we don't want to pay the credit card bill.
Yeah, and do you have confidence that the market will react appropriately, or there's a danger of overreacting if we threaten to default on our debts?
I have confidence that this Congress will not let that occur. From my meetings with senior leadership, everybody understands this issue, and I surely hope we never get to the point late summer where we're even contemplating these things. So that was one of the topics we talked about yesterday, and I would hope for the benefit of the American people we raise the debt limit soon.
Thank you. I yield back.